So we really emphasize for everyone, find what you're really passionate about because you're going to spend so much time at work. You got to love what you're doing and who you're doing it with. So find what you're passionate about. And then when people have a life event, so, they move out of state or they have, they have start having children and they want to stay home with the kids more. So they go part-time. We would rather have 50% of a star performer than 0%.
So, obviously you're a mother, and so, working professional mother, I mean, obviously there's some challenges you've had to face throughout your career. So tell me, how have you been able to manage that, and tell me more about that from your own personal perspective and your growth through the profession.
I've been very lucky because even before this year, obviously 2020 has been different for everyone and every company is being as flexible as they can, but Wyndham Brandon has always been very flexible. So my kids are 15 and 13. And, I took 3 months off with each of them. And then I went back and full time. And, I worked, 8:30 to 5:30 and I was home every day by 6 o'clock. I would have my family time. And, if I had to start working again at 9 when the kids were in bed, I started working at 9. So it was really very flexible. And how and when we got our job, as long as you get your job done, you'll be fine. And I will say, I'm very thankful. I never thought I would say this, but I'm very thankful I have teenagers in 2020 because I don't have to help them with homework.
Right.
They do all of that on their own.
Good.
And they help me with technology. So it's all good.
Right.
Right.
Tech support, right?
Exactly.
So I want to go back to something you said a moment ago. So you had the babies, you took 3 months off, you came back full time, and you found a way to work it in, right? To have to be a professional, be at home with the family. You had to work, in the evenings or whatever to get your job done, but you always got your job done. So obviously very intentional. What do you think? I mean, there's lots of different careers you could have followed, right? At that pivot point. What do you think? What is it about you that gave you that drive to keep doing that and to stay in the profession? What do you think it is about you, that quality about you?
So I think one of the things that got me to where I am is it's just a drive to help our clients be successful, to help do something for other people, to be curious. So if you see a problem, I'm an auditor, you see a problem, okay, well, what caused that problem? Is it systemic or is it one-off, or how do you help your clients change their system to be better? And, I started my career with KPMG in Atlanta in audit and was wonderful experience. When I moved to Wyndham Brandon, at the time, we were small enough that everyone did everything. You did audit, then you did the tax return, and then you did the individual tax return. So I got to see everything. And it was really interesting to see the whole path. And what I realized that I love is something different. I did consider at a couple points in my 20, 30, whatever years, potentially going to a company. And then I thought, I like going to different companies, seeing how things are made, because I had some manufacturing clients, talking to different owners and structures and just seeing how different people address the same issue, bringing best practices to different companies. And that's what I enjoy. I thought if I went to the same company every day and that was all there was, I don't think I would have been happy.
It's really interesting. So tell me about, what do you see in the future of your firm or the future of the industry? What do you see going forward, 2021 and beyond? What kind of trends are you looking at, and what do you see happening there, and what in your role in guiding your firm through that?
So right now, our firm is probably 25% advisory consulting, 75% audit, tax.
Mhm.
I think that is going to switch dramatically over the next 5 years. And, you know, when I say tax, even part of our tax is planning. A lot of it is planning, not just compliance. But I think the mix between planning and advisory and compliance is going to flip flop. And I think it's got to happen that way. Things are being automated. A lot of the audit processes can be automated. Some of the tax process can be automated. So we have to reinvent ourselves to be more advisory focused and planning focused than just knocking the audits out or the tax returns out. And that's where our advisory lines are going to start growing. And they'll grow at a lot faster pace than the traditional audit and tax will grow.
Great. And do you have what's your long-term vision for the firm?
Long-term vision is we remain independent. So there is a big consolidation going on and has been going on in the public accounting world. You know, where we've been an independent firm for almost 65 years. And so the goal is to remain that independent firm. And how we do that is, you know, we can't do everything. We can't be everything to everyone. And we have great partners in larger firms where they might have, you know, 100 people in their technology department and they're developing bots and this. So we have relationships with those firms to help Lynn and Brandon adopt those ideas and policies and help us implement that. So it's really developing partners for the areas we are not big enough for, but continuing to grow our advisory so we are independent past my retirement.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, you know, obviously the accounting profession and professional service firms are very challenging for everybody, really. And there's been a lot of change going on, right? How's your company been weathering the current, you know, the crisis in 2020 and the pandemic and the slowdown in the economy overall? Just has it had a big impact on your firm?
So we sent all of our employees home on March 17th as a trial run to see if we could work 100% remotely. It went really well. I honestly did not think that day that we would not come back, but we haven't been back. And so our technology was set so that when we went virtual, it was very smooth. So I'm very thankful for that. If this had happened 10 years ago, the answer would be very different. But I think for 2020, our firm was set so that we could work virtually. And as I mentioned, with our diverse client base, we had clients that have suffered. We've had clients that went out of business. We've had a lot of clients though that have done really, really well.
Why do you think they were able to do well while others went out of business? What do you think it was? What's the difference there, you think?
I think it's the industry. I think there's still a lot of construction going on. You know, obviously our restaurant clients have suffered significantly. Healthcare, which I'm not in healthcare, so I thought this would be a great time for healthcare. No, a lot of the hospitals are furloughing people because of they're not doing elective surgery. So, so those, and then courts are shut down. So our litigation practice was like, okay, now what? So, you know, we have not furloughed or laid off anyone because we've had these other practice areas that were doing well with those industries that are doing well. So I think it's just really industry specific.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's had to pivot, right, and adapt in 2020, right? And hopefully, you know, going forward, is there anything, you know, you made a point about technology. Technology obviously is very important, right? Yeah, you're right. Even 5 years ago, a lot of firms or companies would not have been able to keep going without the technology everybody has in place now, generally speaking. But there's also another element that I think is really important, because I've heard firms have really struggled, even though they have the technology, to get their work done intentionally, right? So the human element here, right? And so speak to what you guys have done in terms of staying client focused and your intentionality about getting the work done, even though you're not all together physically.
Mhm.
How did you guys manage that?
Yeah. So I think some people at home have, they're more efficient at home.
Mhm.
Others have younger kids, so they can't work during normal work hours. So our point to them was, if you need to reduce your hours, reduce your hours. Like if I had young kids and I had to be the
Right.
tutor at home, oh my gosh, I wouldn't be working from 8 to
Right.
5.
Right.
And then I'd be exhausted by 5 o'clock. So it's just really individual. So
Mhm.
I think for supervision, our audit teams have developed how do you create an audit similar to what if we were in the client's office. So it's Microsoft Teams. We
Mhm.
live on Microsoft Teams. You can share screens, and they call them office hours. So an hour in the morning, an hour in the afternoon, where everyone's online. So if
Mhm.
you have a question, you can ask. You don't have to make an effort to email or call. They're just right there on the
Right.
screen, and everyone's on screen. So they've done that. We have onboarded probably 30 people, and since
Wow.
the pandemic started,
Wow.
and a lot of them are interns
Mhm.
and new folks. So those are the hardest people, I think, to integrate into the firm because they don't, we talk about our culture. They don't know our culture
Right.
really yet. And they also, when I was an intern and a new start, like I needed somebody sitting next to me and showing me what to do and being in the room with them so I could ask questions. So it's been a lot harder, I think, on those folks. And I think the supervisors of those folks have to be more intentional and checking in more regularly. And that's what they've been trying to do.
Good. So you have a really good plan in place.
Yeah.
Tell me, how would you best, in one sentence, how would you best describe your culture?
That is a really good question. I don't know about one sentence, but I would say
Go
very
ahead.
family focused. We're about quality. We are implementing actually tomorrow. You probably are familiar with it, but the fundamental behaviors, it really making our culture intentional. So it's easy to talk about culture, more respect, more community service, more in those kind of things. But that may mean something different to me than it means to you. So tomorrow we're rolling out our fundamental behaviors, which really make the culture more intentional. So what does that mean? It means do the right thing always. It means be curious, be a mentor, deliver legendary service. So these kind of behaviors that really define who Wyndham Brandon is and makes our culture tangible.
That's great. It's very forward thinking and so prescient today with everything that's going on and everybody being distant, far from each other. So one final question for you. Okay,
Yeah.
I've already had my mind 3 times and I just lost it. Okay, I got it back. It's back.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
So what advice would you give to a young woman or a young person looking for a career, getting in the accounting profession, or even in business? What wisdom of advice would you share with them about their success going forward in their life?
I would say find what you're passionate about and do more of it. So whatever it is, find a place where that will let you soar with that strength. So strangely enough, I love benefit plan audits. And Wyndham Brandon let me do all of them that I wanted to do. So it's really, you're going to spend a lot of time at work and you want to have fun. You want to enjoy what you're doing. If you don't like what you're doing, you're never going to be happy. So I think it's to keep that happiness in your life and your work life, and which bleeds into your home life. You want to be passionate about what you're doing.
All right, you heard it there. You heard it here, folks, from Heidi LaMarca, managing partner of Wyndham Brandon CPAs, an advisory firm. Great wisdom, great thoughts around leadership, and really to have fun, enjoy what you do, enjoy your work, because we are a whole person, and whatever we do at work or at home, it all integrates together, right?
Yep.
And so Heidi, if anybody wants to get a hold of you or reach you, how's the best way they can connect with you?
Well, my email is HLaMarca, LaMarca at wyndhambrandon.com, or you can just go to wyndhambrandon.com to our website and you can find me there. I'm the only Heidi, so I'll be easy to search for.
Heidi's not hiding.
Exactly.
It's my pleasure to have you as my guest today. So thank you for being on with me today.
Thanks for having me. It's been a lot of fun.